the real reason he came back to you. In this video, I'm going to reveal why he keeps coming back even though the relationship is supposed to be over. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. Okay, I get variations of this question all the time, so I figured it deserved its own video. We're talking about why guys come back when a relationship is over. It could be a long-term relationship. It could be a guy you just went on a couple of dates with who disappeared and then just keeps popping up again. So he comes back, but he doesn't necessarily want you back. Maybe he starts commenting on your Instagram, maybe he shoots you a friendly text, maybe he calls you, maybe he says he wants to go out for coffee and catch up. Like, what's the deal? Why is he doing this? I'm gonna tell you exactly what's going on in his head and how to handle it when it happens, so make sure you watch this video until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, please tap that like button. It takes less than a second and it's such a quick, such an easy way to help me out, help me grow my channel. Also make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at A New Mode. The reason I started down this career path is because men just felt so confusing and baffling to me and I just didn't get it. And it wasn't until I actually briefly had a male roommate that I got to really understand the species and why men act the way they do. And then I teamed up with Eric and that's how we started A New Mode. And then we actually wrote a book together called He's Not That Complicated. In it, we basically break down every confusing thing that men do, everything that has you saying like, why is he doing this? I don't get it, men are so confusing. We break it all down in that book. So if you are interested in finding out exactly why men act the way they do, you can download it right now or when you're done with this video at understandhim.com. And we also have a newsletter where we break down male behavior, share personal stories, answer all your questions. You can subscribe at anewmode.com/subscribe. And I'm sorry that I sound like Fran Drescher. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I had the flu last week and I'm still not fully recovered, but I really didn't want to get behind on my posting schedule. So even though I'm not feeling so great, I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you with your relationships. So let's do it. And I'm sorry if I sound super nasal. Okay, so why is he coming back after the relationship ends? Why is he coming back? Maybe he broke up with you, maybe he just ghosted you, but he keeps coming back. Like, what's going on? Number one, he doesn't want to feel like the bad guy. So I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna give you the real story here, okay? Because even like the guy in this story doesn't even know this part of it, but it's pretty funny, so I'll share it with you guys. So I spotted this really hot guy that was in a picture with one of my guy friends, and I was just kind of in the phase of life where I was on the prowl. So I asked my guy friend, like, you know, what's the deal with this guy? And he told me, whatever, we're casual friends. He's a great guy, blah, 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 blah. So I was going to this party. I can't remember, like costume party, Halloween party, something like that. And I told my guy friend, I'm like, why don't you invite this hot guy to come along? And he was like, sure, no problem. So we'll call the hot guy Derek. So he brings him to the party and then I spot him at the bar and I like really want to meet him, but my guy friend is like nowhere in sight. So I'm like, okay, I need to find a way to meet this guy. So my girlfriends were like, okay, come on, let's go over there. So we go over there. One of my girlfriends literally shoves me into him. I knock into him, like make him spill his drink. And I'm like, oh, so sorry about that. Oh, hi, I'm Sabrina. He's like, oh, hi, I'm Derek. We clicked right away, talking, got my number, and we ended up going on a few dates. Now, it was pretty clear to me that this relationship was not meant to last. We were in totally different places in our lives. He was still like in his frat boy phase of life. I was in a more like, I'm ready to settle down phase of life. I knew it wasn't gonna work out, but I did what a lot of women do. I was like, you know, he's just so hot and he's so great that I'm just gonna ignore that and I'm just gonna keep going with this and maybe something will happen. Guys tend to be a little bit more practical, and I just remember it was on maybe our third date. I was like, I think I'm gonna get ghosted after this. Like, I see it coming. I feel it, I know it's gonna happen. And it did, he ghosted me. Then something really crazy happened. Barack Obama was in town. So obviously the story took place a while ago. I was in the city and I was at some like luncheon event and I needed to take the subway home and all the streets were blocked off. So I couldn't get onto my normal subway. So I had to like reroute and I'm like walking around trying to get onto the subway from like a different part because everything was all blocked off. And I'm walking down the street and I run into him. And I happened to look great. Like it was the perfect run-in. And he was like, obviously does not talk about the fact that he ghosted me. And we were all like, you know, friendly, hi, how are you? Catching up. And I invited him to this like happy hour thing that I was going to. I hate the way that I played this whole thing, but whatever. That's how I played it. And he was like, he's such a nice guy. So he was like, yeah, sure, great. So he came to the happy hour thing. I was like putting on the moves, flirting. Nothing came of it. Like he clearly just wasn't into me anymore. And you know, that was a pretty terrible feeling, whatever. So after that night, I was hoping I'd hear from him. I didn't think that I would, and I didn't. But then he would like periodically pop up, like to text me like, hey, happy holidays, or, oh, check out this article. It made me think of you, made me think of your website. And then I would like engage in the conversation and then he would just stop, like just stop talking. So it was almost like I kept getting like re-ghosted. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is he popping up? Why is he reaching out to me if he obviously like isn't into me anymore? And I like in the years after that, like he and I crossed paths a bunch of times, and he's just a really good guy. I mean, I know like whatever, he did an immature, stupid thing, but he's just a good guy. And I think that he wanted to maintain that feeling of being a good guy. So he was reaching out to me because if he's reaching out to me, that means he didn't ghost me, you know? And no guy like wants to ghost a girl. Guys aren't like bragging to their guy friends like, oh, like check out this chick that I just ghosted last week, you know? That's not how it happens. And I have a whole other video on ghosting, so I'm not gonna get into like the psychology of why guys ghost. You can check that out and I'll link it. It's really just a matter of he didn't want to feel like the bad guy. And in his mind, he felt like, okay, this relationship, it wasn't gonna last. Like we're clearly in two different places and wasn't gonna work out. Hopefully she sees that and he convinces. I mean, I did see that, but I didn't wanna see that. I was like deluding myself. So I was still hearing from him here and there because he didn't wanna feel like the bad guy. Number 2, he misses you. The thing is, desire, attraction, love, lust, like these are complicated feelings and they don't just turn on and off like a light switch. It's not like I broke up with you and I no longer desire you, I no longer love you, I no longer want you. I mean, maybe you broke up because those feelings have significantly diminished. It doesn't just go away completely. We all get caught up in these moments of weakness and longing. So it's very possible that a guy can not want to be with you anymore, but you still hear from him because he misses you and he, you know, couldn't help himself. I was actually talking to one of my readers. You know, she's having a really hard time with a breakup. She basically broke up with this guy. The guy actually broke up with her because they were pretty incompatible. Like he just didn't feel like he could measure up to what it is she wanted. He always felt very inferior. And if you are familiar with my content, we talk a lot about how important it is for a man to feel like a winner in his relationship. I didn't feel like that with her. But he really loved her. Like this guy worshiped her. And what was so hard for her to understand is how he could like worship her so much and love her so much and like, you know, be so obsessed with her. And then he's the one who broke up with her. And as soon as he broke up with her, she's like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake. Like, why didn't I treat him well? And wanted to get back together with him. But once he was done, he was just done. And she, you know, would accept that and start moving on, even though she, you know, really wanted him back, but he just wasn't having it. So she came to a place where she realized, okay, like I need to move on. But over the months, he would just keep popping up. Like he would keep, you know, he'd send her sad messages like, you know, I'll never love anyone as much as I loved you. And she's like, dude, why are you telling me this stuff? Okay, if that's how you feel, let's get back together. But if that's not what you want, like leave me alone. So I think he finally did quit, but like it went on for a while where she'd move on and then he would send her something like that. And it's really just because you can know that this isn't the right person for you, but it doesn't mean that you don't miss them, doesn't mean you don't love them. It's very easy to get nostalgic or overly sentimental for a connection that once was, especially when you're single, you don't have anything going on, especially a time like now, it's the holidays, it can be painful to be alone at this time. So that's really where it's coming from. Number 3, he just wants to hook up. You dated a guy, it didn't work out, but you still hear from him time to time. You get together, you hook up, then you don't hear from him for a while, then you hear from him again, you get together, you hook up. I mean, we don't like to see what's in front of us sometimes, so it's very easy to convince ourselves that, no, like he's reaching out to me because there really is something there. He's just so drawn to me, like he just can't let go of me. And maybe this will turn into something real. And time again, like you just end up so disappointed because it seems like he's into you again. It seems like he wants to go out again, but then he just leaves. So if that's the pattern that you're in, it's pretty clear that he's not like, you know, so drawn to you because you share this like cosmic connection. It's more like he's horny and you're there and he knows that he can text you and you'll show up. Number 4, ego fuel. Our egos are little mofos, let me tell you. Our ego is what prevents us from seeing a situation from what it is. And it also can cause us to act in ways that are kind of selfish. I mean, women do this and men do this. So I'm not just putting this on men, but my audience is predominantly women. So that's who I speak to. But doesn't it kind of feel good for all of us to know that someone still wants us even though we're broken up? So if he's reaching out to you, nothing's coming of it, it's kind of like he's taking the temperature on the situation to see, like, could I still have her if I wanted her? Like, does she still want me? Is she still attracted to me? And it feels good. We all have really fragile egos and it feeds those fragile egos. So if you're in that type of pattern where he reaches out to you, you kind of have like some friendly back and forth banter, but nothing ever comes of it, that's most likely what's going on. And again, not blaming the men, women do it too. Number 5. It's comfortable. There is a comfort in the familiar, even when we know the familiar isn't what's right for us. or isn't what's good for us. Sometimes it just feels nice. It feels nice to go home again, I guess. Even if your home isn't a great place, like there is something comforting about that. There is something comforting about going back to someone that you shared something so special with. It's also like what keeps so many people stuck in bad relationships is that who wants to start again? I mean, just the whole getting to know you process, it's so exhausting. And sometimes when you're like back in that mode where you're back on the dating market, it can just be exhausting. You're like, I don't want to deal with this and have the same stupid conversations like, oh, what's your job? Where did you go to college? What did you major in? Like, it's so tedious, especially for like introverts. I'm like a major introvert. Most people don't realize that about me because I'm like chatty and outgoing, but totally introverted. So that stuff is painful to me, those kinds of conversations. So that can be annoying. And then it's like, I wish it would just work out with this other person. We've already had those stupid, like tedious conversations, and that can lead you to go back to like what's familiar. Okay, so now that we've talked about the main reasons why a guy will resurface, let's talk about what to do about it. First, instead of being mad that he keeps coming back, because like I do hear this a lot. Women are like, why is he doing this? He's such a jerk. Like, why can't he just let it go? Why is he keep coming back? Instead of focusing on that, because that's just going to put you in an angry space, ask yourself, why do I keep allowing it? Why do I keep engaging with him every time he does show up again? It's easy to cut someone out. You can just ignore them. You can block them. We have so much fancy technology these days. No one's forcing you to answer him. So why are you doing it? It must be because you're getting something out of this. You're getting a need met. You're getting an itch scratched. It's doing something for you. So ask yourself what that is. The fact is, we teach the world how to treat us. What is Dr. Phil's like famous thing? What we permit, we promote. He says that a lot, right? And it's true. So you can't be mad at him for treating you a certain way, like treating you like a hookup, treating you like a backup option, if you're the one allowing it. So it's important to look inward. I mean, you can look outward all you want and blame him and say all men are jerks, but I guarantee you that's not going to take you anywhere. It's not going to get you where you want to be. It's just going to make you bitter and jaded, and nobody wants to be with the bitter and jaded person, and nobody wants to be the bitter and jaded person. If you could see everything that happens in your life as an opportunity to better yourself and to grow, then you'll be much better for it in the end. And that's what will serve you. Being mad and angry doesn't serve you. Next, ask yourself, do I really want to be with this man? Sometimes we just get so caught up in the ego fuel and the attention and the drama that we can't see a situation for what it is. Like with my guy, Derek, that I told you about, I mean, it hurt that he didn't want me. Like, what the heck? Especially because like he wanted me so much in the beginning and then the tides turned. I wasn't looking at the fact that, oh, this is still like a frat guy. Like he's still like a child, like the way he was behaving. I mean, I think I was 2 years older than him, but that gap felt very large. We were two very different places. I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at the fact that he hurt my ego. And I wanted to fix that. And I like degraded myself to get there, by inviting him to that happy hour and like throwing myself at him basically, and him not being into it because of my ego. My ego is the one that took me to that place. Or maybe it's just a distraction. This is like a key thing that people don't realize, that sometimes we're drawn to people because they just have so much drama, and it's kind of nice to get lost in drama. This is why people like watching The Real Housewives and the Kardashians. It's drama. We like get lost in it. It helps us forget about our own lives. And we could do this with other people. It's not just with reality TV. You can find someone who's drama. Some guys are just drama. The highs are so high, the lows are so low, and you never really know where he stands or if you're going to hear from him or what's going to happen. So I think that you could get so caught up in that. But it's not because you want to be with him. It's because he's a nice distraction from everything else going on in your life. And times are tough right now. We are not living in the simplest world at the moment. So it could be nice. Just escape into something else. Now, let's say he is someone you genuinely want to be with. You're like, no, Sabrina, it's not ego fuel. It is not me being a drama queen or wanting attention or wanting to get lost. I really like him. I really believe we're meant to be. If that's the case, when he reemerges, or if you want, you can reach out to him. Just say, look, like, I like you. I really think there's something here. I think we should give this another chance and see what happens. You don't need to be afraid to show interest. When a guy really likes you, your interest is not a bad thing. It's bad to be needy. It's bad to be clingy. It's bad to be desperate, but it's not a bad thing to just tell a guy, look, I'm interested in you. I like you. Guys actually find that very sexy. So if you say that he wants to be with you, he will. If he doesn't want to be with you, he won't. And that's it. At least you'll have some clarity. And clarity is a beautiful thing. If this guy is just messing with your head, if it's like hindering your chances of being able to meet other guys and connect with other people, then just cut him out. What do you need him for? What's the point? Life's too short. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please tap that like button. It will really help me out. It literally takes less than a second. Tap that like button, subscribe, check out our book, He's Not That Complicated, If Men Confuse You. And look, the fact is they're not that complicated, but it can feel really complicated. And in the book, I explain exactly why, and we clear up any confusion you can possibly have. So you can download that at understandhim.com. Follow me on Instagram @newmode. I'll see you in the next video.